Welcome back. I have clearly made it to the hospital in my super sick gown. Got the super sick layout, whole 9 yards, hooked up to all the machines. So today is Friday, December 21st. My last update was Tuesday, what was it, the 18th? So what has happened since then? Wednesday I had my PET scan, which is they inject you with radioactive chemicals, so it does like tagging, I guess, so it sees where the cancer is in my body. So I did that scan, you know, I get there and they like inject me with the fluid and they're like, it has to sit for 40 minutes because it, basically how it works, I guess, is like your molecules, your cells absorb glucose, and like the faster that they absorb it, the more that they get, kind of thing. So obviously we all know cancer cells divide pretty quickly, and so they put the radiation tag on the glucose, so your body has to absorb it, so it takes a little bit of time. So they like inject me or whatever, and they're like, okay, whatever, just lay down and take a nap. And my appointment was at 7:30 in the morning, and I work like a nighttime job, so I'm like still getting used to all these morning appointments. So I was like, oh man, I'm just gonna take a nap. Like, hospital beds aren't that comfy, but you know, like the lights were down low and it was like early enough in the morning, and I was like, I'm just gonna nap. So then they come in, I swear to God, like 10 minutes later, and I'm like, has it been 40 minutes? And they're like, yep. And I'm like, that was easy. So then, you know, they take me in the room, and I have to get in my fancy gown, which I'm going to become quite acquainted with, I'm sure. And this machine was actually pretty similar to the CT scan machine. The CT scan machine was more of just like a smaller circle. This one's like the tube that you're probably pretty used to seeing on medical TV shows. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I get claustrophobic, so I like lay down and like, we're gonna put you in the machine, and I'm like, this is fine. I'm fine. So it wasn't bad just because like I'm a little person, so there was like enough space between me and like the top of the machine. But I basically just laid down, and that's like a slow scan, I guess. So I literally was sitting in the machine for 20 minutes. Like, I was on like a little bed or whatever, but I was in there for 20 minutes. So I took another nap, and it's actually kind of been a struggle because I have a hard time breathing when I lay down because the tumor presses on my lungs. It's like, just lay there. And I'm like, you don't understand how much of a struggle that is, but okay. So, you know, I just like focused on my breathing or whatever and tried to nap. And so, you know, I'm like done or whatever. I'm like, okay, let's get going. You know, get your clothes back on, blah, blah, blah. And then, so the lady is walking me out to the front desk, and she goes, by the way, stay away from kids and small pets because you're radioactive right now. And I was like, what does that even mean? And then I was like, what is gonna happen? Like, what happens if I walk by, what if I'm like walking out to my car and there's a kid out there? Like, I kind of freaked out a little, I'm not gonna lie, because like, I've never been told that. And then I was like, I got in my car and I drove home, and I was like, first of all, I'm on steroids because, you know, like the whole whatever the medicine does, whatever steroids do. And I was on steroids, and then I was like, now I'm radioactive. I'm literally the Hulk right now. I'm gonna start a Marvel movie. I'm gonna transform. It's gonna be fantastic. Maybe I'll be Deadpool. Like, how cool. So I was driving home thinking about all this stuff. I don't think I told you guys about my medication, so let me update you on my medication. First of all, I think it was actually Tuesday afternoon after my one doctor's appointment. I went to go pick up my prescriptions, and they prescribed me a steroid, which is supposed to help like boost my lung function or something like that, and then blood thinners because I have blood clots in my lungs and like my neck and stuff. So I go to pick it up, and they're like, oh yeah, that'll be $415. And I was like, no it won't. And so one prescription was $415 and the other one was 10 or like 6. So I was like, I'll pick up the one and call you back. So I literally like Googled coupons. So if you have expensive prescriptions, you can find coupons online via Google, but it had to be doctor prescribed. Like, the doctor had to order the coupon for me to use it. So I like called my doctor's office and I was like, listen, I went to go pick up my prescription. It was $415. That is unreasonable. I refuse to pick it up. I cannot afford that. I found these coupons and I like sent the coupons over, and I was like, I will not pick up this medication until you make it cheaper. So if you want me to get better, pick up that do the coupons. Also, I have this jingly bracelet I'll tell you in a minute. So, like, I wasn't mean, but I was, like, pretty stern, because, like, really, $415? No way. Like, cancer's gonna be expensive enough as it is. Do not do that to me. So, like, 2 hours later, I get a call back, and they're like, oh, no, we're totally working on it. Don't you worry. We'll get you those coupons. And I was like, you damn right you will. Don't you worry. Sorry, they came in to get all my vitals, because that's a thing, too. So, anyways, they call me back, and they're like, oh, yeah, no, don't you worry. We're working on this coupon for you. Like, we'll get it all good to go. And I was like, that's what I thought. Like, I talked to the pharmacist, and they said that the steroid is also a blood thinner, so it's, like, not the end of the world that I didn't pick up the blood thinner. And I was sitting there, and I was like, thank God, because, no, I'm not paying that. Like, that's stupid. So then Wednesday morning, I go to get the PET scan and stuff, so I was, like, taking steroids, and I'm like, Marvel movie time, don't you worry. Cancer Slayer, right here. Picture it. I'll have a cool outfit. It'll be great. I'm excited. So, Wednesday was actually, if you guys remember, the day that I was supposed to have, like, 1,012 doctor's appointments. And so, honestly, I just wait around for phone calls anymore, just because it's a day-by-day thing. Like, obviously, you can't plan this out, and everyone else that, like, I don't want to say, like, has cancer, but everyone else has appointments, and, like, they're just sneaking me in anywhere they can. So, I just wait around for phone calls. So, I was actually pretty tired. I don't know if it was just because, like, the medication or whatever, or because I got up so early in the morning at 7:30. I think I got up at, like, 7, but still. So, I took a nap, and I, like, kept my phone on sound or whatever, and I was just, like, chilling, doing whatever, and then, like, nothing was really happening, and I was planning on going back to the pharmacy, because I now had my little, it's like a rewards card, or, like, a frequent user or something, and it's kind of ridiculous that I have to be a frequent user for this stupid medication, but whatever. If it's gonna get it cheaper, it's gonna get it cheaper, so don't be afraid to bully your doctor just a little, saying, I cannot afford this, how can you help me? Just so you guys know, advocate for that too, because pharmacies are expensive, pharmaceuticals are expensive, and it's expensive to be sick. So, say I cannot afford this, help me, ask for generic brands, look for coupons online. There's this app called GoodRx, and it tells you, like, which pharmacies have it cheaper, where you can get coupons, all that good stuff. So, definitely do that. Saved me, like, $400. Just once, because it's $415 a month every time you have to fill it, and I have to take it for 6 months, so $10 is affordable, just saying. But so, I was, planning on, like, going back out, just because, like, I thought I had more doctor's appointments, so I was trying to plan all my errands together. And then it was, like, 2:30 or something, and they hadn't called me. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'm just gonna go run some errands. Like, I was gonna go to the pharmacy, and then I wanted to go to Barnes & Noble to pick up some books, because, first of all, I love reading, and then I had coupons, and then, you know, I'm gonna be spending a lot of downtime in the hospital. So I went to the pharmacy, I picked up my prescription, whatever, and then I literally walk into Barnes & Noble, and I get a phone call. I'm like, oh, shoot, okay. And, like, it had actually been, like, a game of phone tag all day, where, like, the radiologist called me, and they said they want to place a permanent port, which I guess is, I don't know if it's, like, standard, but how people get chemo administered to them, and it's just, like, a permanent IV, basically, that usually it's in your chest, that they can just administer IV, or chemo through. They can take your blood, all that stuff, but I have blood clots in my chest and my lungs, so they couldn't put it in my chest. It's actually in my groin right now. But they called me, and they said, you know, the doctor picked out one that he likes, that he thinks you're a good candidate for, but it's special order, and, you know, it's Wednesday before Christmas. So she's like, we ordered it, we overnighted it, but because it's late in the week, and then Christmas is on Monday and Tuesday is Christmas Eve and Christmas, she's like, we probably won't get it till next week. So I'm like, oh, I love when overnighting means 1 week. Like, that's great. You know, it's, like, kind of bad weather up here, too, so I was like, whatever. And then, so the radiologist is like, you might start chemo after. I'm like, okay, cool. Whatever. And then the cancer center calls me, and they go, I'm sure you heard about the port. And I was like, yeah. And she goes, the oncologist wants to start ASAP. So you might come in tonight to get a temporary one placed, start chemo tomorrow, and then we'll take it out and do it all over again for the permanent one. And I was like, that sounds terrible, but okay. Like, obviously I was to the point where I was like, you know, do what you need to do. So then she's like, okay, I'll make some phone calls, whatever. And then the oncologist calls me, and he goes, you know, same thing. Sure you heard about the port. I'm sure you heard I want to do it ASAP, start tomorrow. And he goes, I just wanted to make sure it's not going to affect your Christmas plans. And I'm like, honestly, that's really kind of you to ask, but like, let's start getting me healthy. Forget my Christmas plans. Like, they do not matter. So he's like, okay, I just wanted to make sure. I'll call you with a surgery schedule tonight. This, again, it's Wednesday. And I'm like, oh geez, okay. So anyways, I go run my errands and I'm in Barnes & Noble and he calls me back and he goes, show up now. And I was like, like, I don't know how much you know about surgery, but you have to, like, if you're under anesthesia, you can't eat for like 6 hours or 8 hours or whatever it is. And I was like, at this point it's like 6 o'clock. I was like, I just ate at like 3:30. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna be like sitting there for 5 more hours or whatever, just waiting, or if it's like not gonna be under anesthesia. So like, there's a lot of questions, but it's kind of been that game of get here and we'll figure it out thing. And I'm like, okay, shoot, like whatever, I'm there. So I show up to surgery admitting, and you know, they get me all going and they're like, you're in one of the rooms. It's like, okay, it's going to be a bedside procedure instead of surgery room, inpatient, I'm not really sure. Bedside. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, I work in surgery basically. Like, I'm not scared. I know what's going on. Like, I'm also a very strong, independent woman who gets all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, whatever, you know, just get me going. And they like get me up here and they're like, the first thing he says is make yourself comfortable. And I was like, what? I don't really know how to take that, but okay. So I was like, just waiting around, you know, for someone to say something. You know, they're coming in, they're checking my vitals, blah, 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 I get poked and prodded again. And then the surgeon comes in, and she's like explaining the procedure, and then she goes, to be completely honest, I have never done this procedure on someone who is not obese. I have never done this procedure on someone who is not under anesthesia, and I have never done it on someone how small you are, because I'm, you know, 5'2", I'm little. And I was like, thank you for being honest, but that's kind of scary. So, you know, me being Kess was like, we're gonna make some jokes, like, we're gonna get through it, like, let's do this. So, you know, she like lays me on the bed or whatever, and she starts doing like local anesthesia, and she's doing the whole doctor thing where she's like, oh, there's gonna be some pressure, but me being me, it's in my groin. So she's like, there's gonna be some pressure, and I was like, I haven't felt that since my last boyfriend. And then, like, she's like, oh, it's gonna be, you're gonna feel a cold, wet sensation. And I was like, I'd like it better if it was hot. So, you know, I think she got more comfortable just because she was obviously, like, nervous as to what was going on. Like, she was being professional about it and totally knew what she was doing, but you could tell that she's never done this before. This is new for everyone. So I diffused the tension, it was good, and towards the end of it, we were, like, totally cussing and, like, having bro time. And I was like, dude, I love this surgeon. She's awesome. So that ended up being good, but then, like, at the end, she was like, oh, I'm just cleaning up all the blood, I don't want you to see it, but, like, again, I'm in surgery, I get this stuff, but her gloves had blood on them, like, a fair amount, and I was like, well, first of all, I could see your gloves, like, I can assume what's going on, it's my femoral artery that you're, femoral vein, I guess, one of them, I'm not sure which, but, like, you just straight took a wire that goes from my groin all the way to my chest, through my leg, for my very important artery that feeds blood to, like, my entire leg. Like, I kind of get what's going on. So, we're talking about the procedure afterwards, and she's like, yeah, no, you have the smallest veins I've ever seen, so they had to place a pediatric size one, so it's, like, super tiny. And then, she was suturing it to my leg, just to, like, keep it together or whatever, and there's, like, patches and stuff, and she's like, you also have the thickest skin I've ever, like, seen. And I was like, more ways than one? Like, yeah! So, it was good. We had a good time, whatever, and, like, it's been a little sore just because, like, you know, there's shit in my body now and we're just poking at it. And again, I'm a little pin cushion right now. But so it's been good. And then I had to stay overnight. My parents live in Reno, Nevada, and I live in Bend, Oregon, so it's like a 6-hour drive if you speed like I do. So I think it's supposed to be 7. But so they literally left at like 6 o'clock when I got the phone call. I like picked up the phone. I say, hey, I'm going into the hospital tonight. Like, you can come tomorrow morning, you can come whatever. But so they left basically as soon as I got the phone call. So they didn't get here till like 2 in the morning. So then, you know, you're like sleeping on hospital couches and stuff. And like, I might have this extremely comfortable bed, but they didn't. So they got here at like 2 in the morning. You're just trying to sleep, whatever. Wake up the next morning, the doctor wants to do a bone biopsy because since lymphoma is a blood cancer and like your blood is made in your bone marrow, he's like, we get the results for the PET scan. It's just the one area, which is fantastic. But then he said we can't see in your bones. And again, since it's a blood cancer, blood is made in bone marrow, he wanted to get a bone marrow sample. And I was like, that literally sounds like the worst fucking thing of my life, but sure, let's do it. So, my parents actually ended up leaving the room, which thank goodness, because remember when I was telling you guys about the chest biopsy and how bad that was? It's like 10 times worse to get a bone marrow biopsy because, again, I wasn't under anesthesia. I don't really know if they just think I'm super tough and can just do all this shit with general anesthesia. Or, like, local anesthesia, I mean. But, like, so they, like, anesthetize the area. Like, whatever. You can't really feel anything going on. Like, there's, again, pressure. I don't know if you guys have ever had surgery or anything. But you can't put anesthesia in the bone. Because it's, like, bone. It's like it's just doing whatever. And then all of a sudden you can, like, feel that he gets to my pelvis. So it was in my back, but like on my hip bone. So I was laying on my side. So there was a nurse like holding me like upright because again, I have like the port and stuff in my groin now. So it's like, I can't stabilize myself very well. And like, you're laying on your side. It's not comfortable. You know what I mean? So I had like a nurse like stabilizing me or whatever. And then the doctor was on my back and he was like drilling into like my lower back again where your pelvis was. Cause it's a very like dense area with bone marrow. And so he's like going through and he like gets to my pelvis and I like move obviously because like it's the majority of my body. And he's just like, and he's just like, I explained it, when you go to the dentist and they like scrape the plaque off your teeth, but in my pelvis is what it felt like. And like, again, I don't know if you guys know like bone marrow or whatever, but it's got like the matrix. He was crunching out all the matrix because he was getting all that shit. And so I'm sitting there and I was like, this is the most fucking painful thing in my life. And so I'm just like, doing whatever. And so like the nurse is sitting there and she's like consoling me and we're talking, like talk yourself through it. And she was like holding my hand and stuff and she goes, oh, sorry, that's just the mom in me. And I'm like, oh, no big deal. Like, I could use a little consoling right now too. Like, this is a little rough. And so we started talking and she's like, I have a daughter that's 23. So of course this was like really close to home for her because I'm 22 and like all that stuff. And we're talking and then I see her bracelet. I go, oh, I really like your bracelet. Does it jingle? So you can hear that's the jingling. And we're talking about her, whatever. And she's like, yeah, I know, it's really fun. It's festive, whatever. And then we like keep doing the surgery. And first of all, he takes like 4 gigantic vials, like syringe holes, 4 of them. And like, so he hands it over me, obviously, to the nurse because they're on either side of me. And, I'm, like, watching because I'm awake. And, like, I see one, and it's, like, super thick and dark and weird looking, and I'm like, whatever. And then, like, he does another one. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I get you need a lot. And then he does a third one, and I was like, homie, like, what are you doing? And then he gives her 4. This much. This is my face. This much. Huge. And I was sitting there, and I was like, I mean, like, this is kind of scary enough, but I was like, Jesus, are you going to leave any in there for me? I think I need that. Like, I don't know very much, but can you leave just, like, a little, like, ugh. And then, so he, like, I guess stitches me back up. I have no idea if I have suture in my back right now or not. But then he's, like, talking to the nurse, and he's like, oh, yeah, take those to pathology or whatever, and then take the chunk of bone I got, and then this and this and this. And I was like, oh my god. Like, and first of all, how long is that gonna take to heal? Because I'm clearly, like, immunocompromised now because I'm getting chemo, which, plot twist, that's part of the story. But, like, what? That's a huge hole in my pelvis right now, and you took all of my insides out. Like, ooh. So, it was actually cool because the nurse showed me after, and she, like, it was in, like, a little petri dish, and she swirled it, and there were, like, 2 layers where it was, like, the really thick blood, and then, like, the thin upper layer, and then you could see just the chunks of, like, the bone matrix, which honestly was awesome. Now that it was, like, done and they weren't getting it out of me, I was like, okay, show me what you did. So I want to see it. So that was cool. But the bracelet is, I told her I liked it, and she, like, started walking off, and she goes, here, you could have it. I was like, I literally started crying just because it was, like, such a hard, like, biopsy, I guess, and, like, we had the heart-to-heart, and, like, it was her daughter, and, like, just that kind of thing. So I started crying, which, this is all emotional as it is. So then, like, they get that going, whatever, and they walk in, and, again, I know nothing. Like, I'm the least knowledge person here, so I'm trying to help you guys as much as I can, but so then they like walk back in and they're like, we're gonna start chemo like now, like at 10:30 is when on Thursday they were gonna start chemo. And I was like, okay, that's kind of scary, but like whatever, I don't know, you know, do what you gotta do, it's gonna happen eventually. So then again, I'm not super sure what happened, but they gave me like pre-chemo, which like preps my body. That took 3 hours, and I was like, oh yeah, it was chemo, it's whatever. And then they come in with this gnarly thing with a biohazard bag, and like the nurse is in like full PPE, like gloves, gown, she can't touch it. And I was like, that's gonna be going inside me to make me better, like that's kind of terrifying. So then she like hooks me up, and like honestly it's super uneventful, like it's just this little cord that goes to my little groin port. Where is it? Right here. Here's my chemo right here. Woohoo! But so she's like hooking it up and stuff, and I'm just like chilling. I'm like, okay, whatever, like let's just again get this done, like it's gonna be happening for, oh, I didn't tell you guys that. They said, because I gently touched on like the chemo versus radiation thing, so they want to do aggressive chemo, but aggressive chemo is 5 days of being in the hospital every 3 weeks for 6 months. So I was like, just, you know, get this started, it's gonna be a long process, like so she like gets it going or whatever, and then she like starts going over all the like the chemicals that are in it and like my side effects, and it's like she starts out with like standard side effects like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, like all the lovely things, Pepto-Bismol, or what is it, Phillips for colon health, I don't remember the commercial. But then she starts going over things like weird numbness in my hands and feet. And then because of all the chemicals that are clearly being put in my body, I can't share a bathroom with someone because the chemicals that like wash my hands, like my sweat, when I pee, whatever, could burn someone. And I'm like, okay, first of all, I'm radioactive and I'm on steroids, and now I have super chemical, like body sweat. Like, I'm a superhero. I'm radioactive. Like, you know, like that's a little scary, but like whatever. And then she started talking about, because it's going to affect my immune system, because since it's blood cancer and the whole white blood cell, blah, blah, blah. So they have to kill off a portion of my immune system. And then she's like, obviously stay away from sick people, stay away from like unclean areas. But then she said, you're going to have to change your diet, which like, you know, oh, eat really healthy. I can't have fresh fruit because it has bacteria in it. So obviously not today. It's going to be like in a couple weeks, or a couple treatments, I mean. So I guess a couple weeks. But she was like, you can't have fresh fruit. Everything has to be canned because there's less bacteria. And I'm like, that's kind of ironic that I have to like eat not like processed foods, but like you think that like fresh fruit would be good for you. Like, let's do fresh fruit, let's do fresh salads, whatever. So I have like this much worth of pamphlets to read on. Oh, they give me one about like coping with hair loss. And I'm like, it's hair. Like, you don't know me, but it's hair. Like, I don't care. So it's been a mountain of information. We're just going through it, and we have officially taken out the dreads. So here's my all the hair I have in the world right now that will no longer be here in a couple weeks. So it's been fun playing with it, remembering what it's like. So today is now Friday the 20th, like I said. The chemo is still going. It's that red one. That one. It's a 24-hour like slow release drip form. So I think I started at like 6 o'clock last night. So I still got it going, obviously, and that's honestly, they came in today to do like a morning checkup or whatever. And again, because like Christmas is coming up and whatever, it's going to be the weekend, all that stuff, that we probably won't get the bone biopsy until like Wednesday of next week, which, you know, I get, whatever, it's fine. If it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. You know, 3 days is not going to make a difference. So today is just me getting poisoned by this little lovely bag of death that's going to help me somehow. So updates include Kess is the Hulk, radioactive, poisonous, on steroids. Boom. Oh. Sorry guys, that was me just hitting my phone. Being terrible, because again, this is all going to be very interestingly documented. So, but anyways, my takeaways, one of them, do not be afraid to bully your doctor. Do not go into financial ruin over stupid stuff like cancer, okay? They can help you as much as they can. Google coupons. Again, GoodRx. Love that app. Unpaid for. Maybe they'll give me a sponsor. Maybe they'll donate to my GoFundMe, which I'll link below. But don't be afraid to ask. And obviously, you know, people are asking how I'm doing. Hard time. I'm still spunky Kess with my spunky attitude. I've been doing fine. Again, we're not even 24 hours into my first chemo session. So positive outlook right now. But again, it's going to be a long process. Again, once my immune system starts getting more and more compromised, and obviously I start getting more and more poison put in me, I'm sure it'll be different. But I just want to let you guys know, if you're going through anything like this, people do care about you. Even if you're not, I'm not saying you don't need to go to the extreme of getting cancer to find out, but people always care. They always want for the best for you. Let me see if I could flip this camera around. I don't know. I don't think I can. People have been bringing me gifts, just thoughtful things, even just showing up. I've had a ton of people visiting me, and I love that, just because, like, it gets boring in the hospital. If you have anyone in the hospital, go see them. I'm sitting watching TV because I can't move. I'm also bedridden. Because of my groin port, I can't bend my body because they want me to kink it. So I'm not allowed to be higher than 20 degrees, and I'm not supposed to walk around, so you're bedridden, you're bored, TV gets boring. Like, I have all day for 5 days to sit here and do nothing. So come visit your people. If you have anyone in the hospital, visit them. I've been lucky enough that I work here, again, in this literal hospital downstairs. So I've had my coworkers coming in on their breaks and just saying hi, even for 5 minutes. That's all you need. Like, it's been miraculous. I love it. Again, people are so thoughtful. They want to help. They're here to help. So take them up if you can. Again, in my situation specifically, it's kind of weird because, like, what do you do? Like, I don't know, I honestly just want conversation, you know? Candy's great, fucking presents are great, but conversation is where it's at. I love conversation. Keep me sane. I'm talking to a phone right now, so. But takeaways, not so bad so far. Never as bad as it seems. I will keep updating you guys. I'm pretty sure my next video will be a haircut video, shaven video. Show you guys my sweet head tattoo. That'll be a thing. So keep updating. I'll put links below. Ask any questions you want, anything at all. I'm trying to help, trying to advocate. Like I said, anyone that's out there and they need me, I'm here. Just message me.